What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Optimize You. We are the podcast helping you optimize every single area of your life. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. If you're not new, make sure you share the pod with somebody in your life, a friend, family member, coworker, somebody. That's all we ask. Help us grow the pod. Today we have an awesome podcast. We're going to talk about balance. I know Matt and myself have both kind of been working through this recently. I know for myself, speaking for myself, I have not had the best sleep like over the last maybe few months. I've been really finding a good balance within my nutrition of enjoying all of my favorite foods and some of the, desserts that I love to eat, and also staying in good shape, feeling good about myself, prioritizing health and fitness. And so hopefully by the end of this podcast, you got some good ideas on how you can personally find balance in your life, because it's going to differ from person to person. And before we get into it, and before I knock it over to Matt, wearing the LMNT hat, the element, it's element, but I say LMNT because people kind of get that. They're not a sponsor, but if you do want to sponsor us, we would love it. I literally get these things all the time. It's electrolytes. For anybody who doesn't know, electrolytes. And I think they have the best electrolytes out there personally. I order their like 120 packets at a time. It's like 4 boxes of different stuff. My favorites are watermelon and grapefruit, but now they have some of the like chocolate kinds that you can do hot. And so like that's another good thing to try out. But Matt, if you've never used them, you got to try them out. But how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I've had sample packets. I have not tried. Well, I think this is new. Is the chocolate one that hot? I'm guessing you could do.
Yeah, they have like
chocolate,
raspberry chocolate, mint chocolate. There's like a salted caramel one. Like all of those ones that they have they're good hot. So what I've done with them is like I'll get like almond milk, right? I'll warm it up in the microwave, and then I'll stir in like a half packet of like the chocolate. Really, really good. Something to try. I forgot to open my thing here. There you go. I got it. Cheers. No, this is a yuzu mandarin sparkling water.
Okay. I got some Zevias. I forgot to grab one. But yeah, man, today we're talking about balance, dude. And I think, like you were saying, I noticed this time of year for me, balance is out of balance right now. I'm a little bit more 50-50. Like, for example, you catch me at a certain time of the year, I'm going through, a cut phase in my program or whatever it is that I'm doing, that I'm a little bit more strict. I'm going to have a less time of almost the opposite of what I'm doing now. Right now, I'm eating out more. My diet's a little bit more lenient. My calories are high, so I can do that. But it's just that time of year right now where I'm not necessarily nutritionally wise focused on a diet or putting myself in a caloric deficit or anything like that. It's actually pretty lenient right now, which is cool. But that also opens up the door for opportunity to be a little bit more flexible in terms of my schedule and what I'm doing, right? So I'll go out multiple times a week for dinner now. On the weekends, I noticed I've been changing up my sleep schedule. So like on Monday through Friday, I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm starting my workout no later than 6:30. And as soon as it hits the weekend, that changes, right? I'll usually stay up later, which pushes my wake up time a little bit later. I'm eating different foods than I am during the week most of the time. So a lot cleaner during the week. Weekends, it's not that it's a free for all, but I'm having my pizza, I'm having my processed foods, I'm having my higher greasy fried stuff, and still keeping a caloric budget. We talked about that on another episode as well, but I'm definitely more lenient right now in my process. And I don't know if it's the time of year. And I think those things go in ebbs and flows too, right? It doesn't have to be that we're super strict throughout the entire year. But I noticed for me personally, this time of year, generally speaking, just kind of like post-holiday, in between like a winter transition into a spring kind of thing, like that little buffer area is kind of just a weird time frame for me personally. It's like you can kind of, unless you're doing something aggressive, you're going towards a specific goal. For me, it's almost where I let my guard down a little bit more and allow myself some more flexibility.
Yeah, dude.
This time of
No,
year.
I think the same. Like I've just my food's probably been at like more of a 60-40. I'm really good during the days. Like that's kind of what I've just tried to control, because me and Marissa will go out we'll go out to dinner a few times a week. We'll, do maybe takeout. I'll make some, if we're making stuff, it's generally pretty healthy, but sometimes we go out and maybe we get pizza or we get something else. Right. So, and then we'll get a dessert. You got to try the dessert. You just got to get the dessert. And so, yeah, but like, because like, not because of that, but like just a way that I, navigate and still try to keep that quality of food up is, I mean, when we go out, like a good amount of the times we'll actually get some quality stuff, maybe the salmon, maybe, a salad or, whatever that may be, right? There's plenty of awesome choices on the menu. We've gone over some of that stuff in past episodes. You can still prioritize your health and fitness, or even like a good solid balance of some stuff. Like you could get a good, like a, quality, like, your greens, your protein in your entree, and then get a dessert. Have that balance, right? Like you could do it a lot of different ways. You could split a meal with your significant other or friend and have like one of them be a burger and one of them be a salad, or there's a lot of different ways to do it. And what I've found is like I just am trying to keep the quality of food like somewhere up there, but I just kind of do that by prioritizing my breakfast, my first 3 meals of the day, because I eat 4 meals in a day. So I do that by prioritizing those 3 meals, and then like there's a little bit more lenience on the dinner, right? There might be, especially if we're going out, there's a little more lenience there. So that's kind of what I've been finding there. Sleep, like you said as well, that's been a little bit harder for me. Staying up a little bit later, like throughout the week, the weekends, get a lot later, pushes back the time. I wouldn't change it for the world though. I love, what's going on and the experiences that I'm getting and just doing a lot of really cool stuff. But, like it's all about like, making sure that I'm getting my workouts in and making sure that I'm getting on. I don't have to worry about walks. I walk like 8 miles a day at my job, but, but it's like, just kind of making sure that in the end, I am checking off those things that make me feel good and trying to keep that energy up as much as possible.
And that's a great point too. It's like I call them with my clients the foundational meals. Like you mentioned, okay, if I'm eating 4 meals throughout the day, I know at least the first three are going to be the same or similar or higher quality, potentially mixed in with a lot of single ingredient whole foods. And then that dinner or that fourth meal or whatever one you choose, you're going to have some more freedom and flexibility. I'm almost identical to that, same exact thing. So where I have the flexibility is either on the weekend or that fourth meal at the end of the day for me too, where dinner has a little bit more variable, where if I want to go out and eat, I can, or if I just want to have something completely for dinner that I'm going to make at home that I usually don't, like I have that flexibility to be able to do that because I know that I've taken care of some higher quality protein early on in the day, some higher quality calories early on, so that I'm going to fuel my body properly. I'm not going to go way over my guardrails as far as my caloric budget is concerned, and then I can feel confident and feel guilt free having that, whatever that last meal is. So I do that very similar, and I think you and I probably do that almost now to the point where it's like subconscious, right? Like it's second nature. So if anybody's listening to this, like, what the heck are you guys talking about? Pick a couple of meals throughout the day that that are first and foremost calorically dense for you, that are going to do the job. They're high quality, and what we mean by that is single ingredient whole foods as much as you possibly can. So if you read the ingredients on the back of food labels, or you literally like just try to pick something that if it's a potato, it's just a potato. If it's rice, it's just rice. If it's meat, steak, ground turkey, whatever it is, like it's just that one ingredient. It's not like you getting a box of something and then you look at the ingredients list and there's this whole paragraph like that. You can have those things, right? But it's going to be lower quality food. Chances of you feeling bloated or having a headache, or those affecting you, it's a lower quality fuel source. So it's not to say that we're not saying don't have those. This whole episode is about balance, but figure out strategically where you're going to put that in your day. Or like Alex mentioned, when we go out to dinner, I'll either share options or I'll get the salmon, but I'm going to leave room for dessert, because we know the dessert's probably not going to be single ingredient whole food stuff, right? Like, but it's just all about knowing like, okay, can I do my homework a little bit up front, make some conscious decisions so that I can allow myself some flexibility, a little bit of a luxury, and just to enjoy life
Yeah,
and
dude.
have some fun.
And I love this kind of stuff. Like I'm always like kind of tinkering around. And I mean, just an example. So like I keep my stuff very similar. It's all, I do a lot of like bowls, burritos, and then my lunch every day, or like what I would call my third meal of the day, is always like a Greek yogurt bowl. I'll have like frozen blueberries, a banana. I'll do a few of those like Oikos triple zeros, or if I have like a tub of it, I'll do like maybe a half tub of it in there, and then I'll do a bunch of peanut butter. So I'll do like the natural, like the good. I get the peanut butter that's just peanuts. Like it's just literally peanuts, right? It's about as good of an option as you're going to get on the peanut butter side of things. But like that gives me a good amount of calories. It gives mostly single ingredient whole foods, and for me, I bring it in a like I'm out in a neighborhood, right? So I'm able to put it in a cooler and put ice on it, and it's good. It's not going bad over the course of the day, right? And for breakfast, like whatever the meat of the week is. So like a lot of times, what I'll have is I'll do chicken. I just today did chicken in a crock pot with like a Korean barbecue sauce, right? So I'll put like 5 pounds of chicken in a crock pot. I'll put some sort of low calorie, low sugar sauce that's good. I found like the Good and Gather Korean barbecue sauce, the Good and Gather teriyaki sauce for Target. Really, really good options for me that I really love. They taste amazing. They're very low calorie, low sugar. Right? There's a lot of different options out there, but just keep an eye on those kind of things. If you're going to be health conscious, that can tack on some of those barbecue sauces for the whole bottle are 12, 13, 14, 1500 calories, right? So you're tacking on a lot more calories than you need to for that. A lot of sugar as well. And so I'll do like the chicken, I'll do like Brussels sprouts or some sort of veggies, rice, and then I'll generally put that in a burrito with cheese and avocado, right? So like that's kind of what I'll do. The remaining will just be in a bowl. I do that. I'll do like another burrito for like a second meal where it's like just something quick and easy, where maybe it's like a ground turkey and rice and cheese or something like that. Like something that has mostly like single ingredient foods. Obviously the burrito, the flour tortilla isn't going to be that way. And keep in mind, this is all going to depend on your goals. Like I kind of need more calories. So I'll throw in tortillas in a lot of my meals with cheese and avocado, because that'll tack on an extra 500 calories to my meal pretty easy, right? So like these are different things, but if you get into a groove like this and you can start to plan that out, then you start to be able to figure out, what do I have to eat to make room for X, Y, Z, like a pizza, burger, whatever it is, desserts. And so then I'll like, if I know I'm in for like a bigger meal, like I might pare back some of these meals a little bit, right? It's like if I want to like, or if I'm trying to be in a calorie deficit for like a week for some reason or whatever, like I'm like, you know what, I've kind of, I've gotten a little bit pudgy, right? Like, and I'm like, I'm just going to pare back my calories a little bit this week. Not anything crazy, but I can kind of intuitively eat in a calorie deficit, and then I start to feel a little bit better, right? And like this is just kind of the ways that I've been doing it. So hopefully that gives you guys out there an idea of just how you can plan out your days in a way that's going to work for you, because we're not trying to push anything on you. We're just trying to help you guys find the right balance for you based on what your goals are, right? If you're like Matt and myself, where you don't necessarily have any sort of goals of trying to lose weight or gain weight or anything like that, or build muscle, like my current goal right now is to stay in pretty good shape, right? To stay looking good and be able to enjoy dinners out and desserts and all that stuff. Like that's what I'm trying to do right now. And so like I'm successfully doing that, and there's always adjustments being made. I like shit this last weekend, but I didn't beat myself up about it, right? I like it. Sometimes it's so easy. Like I woke up, or I at the end of Sunday, I was like, wow, I ate a lot of like garbage this weekend, kind of like I didn't do a good job, and it was on me. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh, there was no options, right? It was like I made some poor choices and I overconsumed some desserts, right? Like, and that's cool. But sometimes when you're in that frame of mind, I've found like I judge my body a little bit more, right? Like I'll like when I'm in that frame, like it's like I see, I'm like, wow, I put on weight, right? When literally then 2 days later, I'm like, oh, I look the same as I did last week, right? Like it's like nothing happened. I probably barely ate in a calorie surplus, maybe gained a pound, right? Like it's like these kind of small things we don't think about. But when you're in a certain frame of mind, you could like make a drastic choice that's like not good for you, because you see yourself in a different light that's not really true. Maybe you bloated a little bit because you've been eating a little bit more salt or sugar or whatever it is. But that's kind of my thought process on it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's like, understand who you are and where you're at and what your skill levels are, and how far along in your journey you are, because it's going to be different for everybody. Alex and I have a lot of calories to work with. So some of the stories that we're saying right now, it's funny. I didn't even know, dude, you add like tortillas and cheese and like quesadillas, stuff like that. I do too. And that's just literally like fillers just to try to get extra calories in, dude. Like I'll eat my meal and then I'm like, okay, I need another 250 to like 400 calories right here. I'll make some quesadillas real quick. Like that's like after my meal. That's like a filler snack, So it's funny that you do that too. But yeah, I think it's just knowing yourself personally and going, okay, because we didn't talk about the mental side of this too, is like if you want to choose to be balanced and you're very hard on yourself, if you're somebody who's very, very strict on themselves, and by the way, you could be fairly new to this whole like health and fitness journey. You don't quite have all the habits down yet, but you're introducing some higher quality foods, and you have goals and ambitions of maybe losing weight, or you just want to be in better shape in general. And then you go out with your friends or significant other and you go have some food, and you don't want to be like the person that's like not eating that stuff, and you feel like you have to make like a super clean choice and you're in a really bad position. I look at this as like a great opportunity to absorb some of these things that Alex and I are saying so that you can go and enjoy those things and be guilt free, even if you're not tracking calories. Like, even if you're just, and I think the way that you do that, and an easy way to practice that, is to find those foundational meals that you can have early and often in the day. I would absolutely prioritize them being protein early. They're going to keep you fuller for longer, right? We always talk about that, the satiation effect, the thermic effect of food. You're going to burn more calories just by consumption and breakdown. That's going to be on your side, but it's going to create this buffer where you stay a little bit fuller for longer. You're going to most likely you're going to choose less calorically dense foods if they're higher in protein, which is going to help you too. And then you're going to have like this, like, and I'm using myself last Saturday. I kept my one or two foundational meals early, which are very high in protein, knowing that I was going out to have some pizza and some fried stuff. And so for me, I count calories. So I knew I had about roughly 1,700 to 2,000 calories left on my day still, right? After eating quite a bit, but I kept it lean early in the day. So for the rest of the day, I'm very loosely tracking. I'm going, okay, I'm going to have pizza, but I'm not afraid to have some dessert with it. I'm not afraid to get some ice cream. Like, and that to me is the balance. That's being able to go out, because now I'm putting myself in a good position psychologically by doing a little bit of legwork up front to be like, dude, I'm not going to say I do a free for all by, when it hits dinner time, but I have absolutely zero regrets going through the process. It allows me to look forward to it. And I think that's the difference versus going, man, I wasn't conscious or aware of anything I ate up until this point. Then my friends asked me out, we went out to go eat, and now I'm like in a tough decision to like, should I get like the healthy options? Man, they don't have calories on here. I think I'm just going to go with a salad, and everybody else is going to get a pizza or a burger or something. And then you're like the odd one left out, right? Like those situations are super stressful. So in order to avoid that, I think if you do a little legwork up front, and you can have the balance and you can have the best of both worlds just by doing a little homework early and often. Have your foundational meals that are a little bit higher in protein early on in the day. And this doesn't even have anything to do with counting calories. Like, you don't have to do that. We're just saying choose, some higher quality foods early on so that you can absolutely enjoy yourself guilt-free on the back half of the day. And by the way, we're just talking about nutrition right now. We haven't even dipped into everything else, but yeah,
Oh,
man,
dude, we
that's
can
my
go
thoughts
into
on that.
everything else too, but it's funny how like all of these things we align so closely on, even though we do them a little bit differently. Because I don't track calories, you track calories, but like I'll just pare back. I just intuitively know how much how much I'm eating. If I want to have a gap of what I think is probably 1,500 to 2,000 calories for dinner, just because I want to eat the dessert and I want to just kind of eat whatever I want to that night, I'll do the same shit. I'll pare back a little bit. I'll prioritize my protein. That's all. Like in my burrito, maybe what I'll do is I won't have the rice, right? I'll just do like, I'll do a tortilla with cheese, avocado, and like strictly a bunch of meat, right? Like, and like, I'll just kind of do that. And like, I know I'm going to be full from it, but I know that I'm probably minus like 250 to 300 calories. Like, I kind of am doing exactly, I'm doing that math in my head, and I can kind of understand. I'm like, okay, I have so much room tonight that it literally does not matter at all what I eat. I can eat whatever I want to, right? And then like that's not every night. Like some you don't want to do that every night, right? Because then you're gonna feel like shit. But like if you're like, oh, I want this is a big day. Like tomorrow's Valentine's Day, right? We're recording this right before Valentine's Day, and we got a nice meal plan. Marissa and I. And so like I'm not gonna go out to that meal and be like, oh, like I'm gonna really like I know we'll end up eating probably pretty quality stuff, right? We generally do, but like I'm not gonna not get dessert. I'm not gonna not get whatever I want to on the menu. Like that's that's what I'm gonna do. And so like tomorrow, like I'll probably pare my food back a little bit throughout the day. Like I just the smallest amount, like just these small little tweaks that both Matt and myself are talking about. That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. And like guess what? It might just be a smaller scoop of peanut butter in my Greek yogurt, right? Like if just the smallest thing like that could minus 200 calories from that thing, and I won't even notice it, right? I'm not even going to notice it, but then I'm going to be able to just like without any hesitation enjoy that meal tomorrow night, like and just enjoy the experience of it as well, and enjoy the company and all of these things that we should be doing, right? It's like it's so easy to stress so much over your food, and I get it, right? I've been there many times, but this side of the table is a lot better, not stressing, right? And enjoying yourself and understanding, like Matt said too, which phase you're in, because if you are in a calorie deficit phase, you're trying to lose weight, now that balance is going to shift a little bit, right? There's still balance, you can still have it, but it's going to be higher on the quality side, right? Like you're not going to want to venture as far into the processed foods and desserts and all these things that Matt and myself are right now in our 60 70 30 40 type thing that we're kind of doing right now, right? Like it's like that's cool though. Like it's there's got to be those times. I've had years where the whole year was spent like stressing over food and like just trying to stay as close to 100% quality foods as possible, and those years sucked. The better years have been ones where I'm closer to 70% like quality foods, right? Where I know I'm getting plenty of quality foods in, I'm prioritizing my protein, but I'm also like enjoying the meals and I'm not stressing about them. So like I think that's cool. And let's dive into maybe balance around some other things like sleep and workouts and like movement and stuff like that. What do you think we kind of dive into there for a little while?
Yeah, this is a good one too, because again, it all depends on who you are and where you're at in your journey. And I think somebody brand new, I'll talk to to the newbie getting into this stuff. I think I'm going to encourage that person, of course, in a gradual fashion, but their advice that I'm going to give them is a little bit different, meaning if they have ambitions of improving their health and in their fitness journey right now, chances are if they've been struggling with it and they're brand new to working out, maybe never have worked out before, haven't been conscious around nutrition at all, don't have basic fundamental habits of improving your health and fitness, from sleep to hydration to amount of screen time during the day, like little things like that, mobility, movement, etc. I'm going to push them and encourage them that they need to prioritize a little bit more, because they're so far, like if we're talking about balance, they're so far on one side of the spectrum. They haven't introduced any of these things yet. So, again, you don't have to just throw somebody in the fire, but I'm going to encourage those people that it's no longer like this, I can just dip my toe into these things that are great for me anymore. That's why I created that 21-day jump start in my program for the first 21 days, just focusing on sleep, hydration, mindfulness, really just the fundamentals and good eating habits, right? And just doing those for 21 days straight. So that would be my version of not necessarily pushing somebody in the fire quite that hard, but like getting them to understand the importance and the gravity of prioritizing those things. And once they grasp it and they give it an honest try, I don't have to like convince somebody. They just feel the impact of it and they go, oh shit. Like I put my phone down last night at a decent time. I stopped watching my screen. I fell asleep pretty early. I got up. I feel like a new person. Like I got so much sleep last night. The quality of my sleep was great. I did, like you said, when I got up, I drank 30 ounces of water first thing in the morning. I went about my day feeling like a whole new person. I got some movement in to start my day. Like if somebody is willing to make that shift and make those things a priority, you don't have to explain it to them. They feel it. And once they feel it, it's a snowball effect. They'll just want to keep doing it. They'll want to keep doing it. Now, you don't have to go so gung ho on that side of the spectrum either, right? You don't have to go, oh no, I can't watch that Netflix series because I gotta I gotta go to bed at a certain time. And like you can do that. You can, again, that's where the balance comes in and knowing yourself. But I'm talking to the newbie that doesn't have any of these habits developed yet. I'm going to push them a little bit to be uncomfortable and be like, hey, do some of these, do some of these things. And then let's say 4, 5, 7, the first 7 days, get back to me. Let's assess and see how you feel. And 9 times out of 10, that person is going to feel way better, way different. They're going to be operating at a different energy level. And then now they got the little nuggets that they need to be like, oh, this is what balance is when I prioritize these things for myself. I was so far on the other side of the spectrum where I wasn't doing any of them. So that's where I would push somebody who's brand new to it and like kind of push them into the middle and be like, okay, whether it's 50-50, whether it's 60-40, whatever, I want you to try some of these things. I want you to introduce some of these things. And some of the first things that I have people introduce that they notice the biggest difference are sleep, hydrating first thing in the morning. Like we talked about, I just have them drink 20 to 30 ounces, depending on their body weight, first thing in the morning. And if they can mix a little salt in there, even better, just to get the minerals and electrolytes, because people forget that we've been dehydrating ourselves for the last 7-8 hours through water vapor, through our breath, through CO2. So doing those things really simply, you'll notice you feel a different way. And so I think including those right off the bat, in addition to some quality movement, even if it's just walking or stretching, doesn't have to be working out in the morning, but just some sort of movement, throw those in your routine, do it consistently for, let's say, 7 days and see how you feel. And chances are you're going to feel a little bit different. And so that's what I like to introduce to like the newbie first, right? The people that are just
dude,
fresh.
that's
What about
funny.
you, man?
I do like all those things. I do like the hydration. Like the hydration first thing in the morning has been a staple in my life for so long at this point. Like I have the water right next to my bed. Within the first like 15 minutes, I'm drinking that whole glass of water. There's probably 25, 30 ounces. Within the first 30 minutes, I'm generally getting an AG1 like green supplement. When I in that green supplement, I have creatine, 5 grams of creatine, and I put a half a packet of the element electrolytes. And so like that, like I'm getting all of those things. Um, and then for one of my first things is either a workout or yoga in the morning, 7 days a week, workout or yoga. And then the sleep thing, yeah, that's been one of my hardest things here with the finding the balance within that, but it's getting better, right? It's like it's a priority. Like it's just a matter of like I think my sleep has just not been amazing. And I think that goes back to not having a consistent schedule. Like I'm not waking up at the same time and going to bed at the same time throughout the week. I've realized for me when I'm doing that, that my sleep gets a lot better a lot quicker because my circadian rhythm's kind of in the same groove. But also that's just not a possibility for me right now. So like I'm just doing my best when it comes to sleep. And that's kind of what I would encourage people to do is like you said though too, like what do you want? Right? Like it just kind of depends on what you want. I'm more right now, I like I want to get good sleep, but it's not as high of a priority for me, right? Like it's like I'm trying to get as good a sleep as I can, and I'm also trying to make sure that I'm just enjoying life more, and like that's kind of what's my priority right now is just enjoying life, enjoying the experiences I have throughout the week, doing a good job at my job, still being able to do the things I want to do, stay in good shape. That's kind of where I'm at. But I think you nailed it with those little staples. If anybody just kind of find like uses those, but also I would encourage people to try different things. Like I think it's figure out what makes you feel your best, you know, in the morning. I think everybody probably should, you know, you're going to be dehydrated, right? Like staying hydrated is good. Honestly, all the things you listed are just money, like for everybody to do. But also on top of that, just to experiment with the movement side of things. Like I actually have a client and he was talking about how he's like whenever I move in the morning, I feel so much better. Right. I was like, awesome, dude. Like we're figuring out what works best for you, how you feel your best. Right. Like, and we've kind of been through the working process over the last month of trying to like make that a habit. Right. So I was like, oh, can we do 3 days a week of morning movement this week? And he struggled with it. Like he struggled with these things. And so I came to the point, I was like, let's just do some morning. Like, let's make the goal a minute. I was like, let's do a minute of morning movement and let's try to make this a habit. And then, I mean, when you're doing a minute, you're not just going to do a minute of something generally, right? Like you start doing it, you're like, I'm already doing this. I might as well do 5 to 10 minutes, right? Something like that. Or maybe you just do a minute. Awesome. You have the habit. Like we nail that habit down. That's the hardest thing for people to develop. Right. And so if you can experiment with different things, it's like, oh, you know what? When I get a workout and when I even get like 5 to 10 minutes of like push-ups and like squats and like like sit-ups or something like that. I feel amazing in the morning. Awesome. Do that. Like figure out what works best for you to help you get energized and ready to go to perform the best in whatever you got to do. If that's a job, if that's, whatever that is, if you can figure that out. Oh, when I get 7 hours of sleep, like I need, like, honestly, 9 hours of sleep is like ideal for me. And that's just like not like in the cards a lot of times. And so like but if I wanted to like just really feel as good as I could, I would prioritize that, right? Like if I was like, you know what, I need to, it's hard, right? 9 hours is a hard amount of time to get every day. And so like I do my best and I make sure I'm prioritizing trying to get 8, right? That's what I try to do is get 8, 7 at the minimum, right? Like just at least get 7. And so this is like the longest winded fucking answer of just like find what works best for you, but also like, yeah, like do what Matt said though. Like that is like if you can start moving sleep in a better direction, start moving closer to 7 hours of sleep a night, start like having better sleep hygiene, maybe like turning the lights down a little bit closer to night, having some sort of like sleep routine where like my only sleep routine right now, honestly, is that I do like 10 to 30 minutes of yin yoga. I just do stretching and breathing. It's kind of almost like a meditation stretching type thing. I just put it on YouTube. I use this guy for the most part, name's Travis Elliott. If you want to look him up, he has a lot of awesome yogas on there, like follow along routines, probably 40, 45 different yin yoga practices on there. That is my simplest nighttime routine that I do right now. And it works really well. When I do that, which I'm pretty good at getting it at least 5 to 6 nights out of the week, I get a lot better sleep when I do that. So like finding within you, like maybe for you, it's a hot bath, maybe it's reading, maybe it's also stretching, maybe it's a sauna or something like that, whatever you have access to, figure out what allows you to get your best sleep, start working towards more of a 7+ hours a night if you can, or maximizing the amount of sleep you have, and you're going to feel like a new person. You add in the morning movement, you add in the water in the morning. They're pretty simple things to do. It doesn't have to take more than 5-10 minutes for both of those combined. You're going to feel like a different person.
Totally. And like, I didn't even know what you had in the morning or what your morning routine consisted of as far as what you're drinking, like your morning cocktail. But it's funny, ours are almost identical. Like, so I have 25, 30 ounces of water. I mix in my greens and 5 grams of creatine. And then I take a little vitamin D pill with it as well. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest, so I don't see the sun very often. So, especially this time of year. And that's it. And then for my movement, I go and hit my workout, and that works really well for me. And so again, Alex is saying, like, figure out what works well for you, but you have to try things consistently. You have to you can't just do it like 1 or 2 days and then like give up on it, like, oh, it didn't work. Like, try it consistently, even on, like, give yourself 7 days, like, I'm just going to do it. To Alex's point, he gave you a golden nugget. If you have like friction or resistance to something in the process, just do that 1 minute rule. Like, run a timer for 1 minute, like, do whatever it is that you need to get better for at 1 minute. At 1 minute, you could shut it down and stop, right? Everybody has a minute. You could do that. Whether it's the drinking the water, whether it's stretching, whether it's getting some steps in and walking, like, whatever it is, like, just set a minute timer. That way you create the callus in the consistency of showing up for yourself every day. I think that's what this is all about, is like, if you want to improve your balance and you're further on one side of the spectrum, but you have friction with these other things that you want to create to give you more balance, use that 1 minute rule and just run a timer. And when it beeps, you're done. Like, you can shut it down, but at least you showed up for yourself for that thing. I think that's huge, because I think a lot of people go, man, when these guys are talking movement, that must mean like a hour to hour and a half workout that I got to do in the morning. And like, you set the bar so high for yourself and you haven't even started, and you're just like, I and then you look for any little sliver of an excuse, and then you just breeze it over. Like, I wasn't able to get it to, I'll just do it tomorrow. Right. And that becomes a snowball effect in the opposite direction. But yeah, just having that 1 minute rule, get started, hit it at 1 minute, you could shut it down, or a lot of times you're already moving, you're already doing the things, so you extend that minute out even further, right? So he gave you guys a gold nugget in there. If you guys are having trouble doing these things consistently,
Yeah.
do that
Well, the
1 minute
hardest
rule
thing
for
is
sure.
building the habit, right? I think that's kind of the big thing that people struggle with. And I like that you said, like, it is I think it's daunting for people to build habits sometimes because you see other people that have the habit you want and they do it for 45 minutes, right? And like and with workouts, right? Like I always kind of it's always almost pushed that or people just assume that your workout has to be like 30 to 60 minutes, right? When really it's like I would just challenge people within any of this and within finding balance, within building habits to like just meet yourself where you're at and figure out what you can do. What can you stick to with it? Like it's it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like it's not like you have to start out with 3 workouts a week. Like maybe what you can stick to right now is one, right? Like or one 5 to 10 minute workout a week, and that's better than nothing. Like it's not. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's no like, oh, I got to be as good as this person. No, we're all going on a different path, and we all have different goals. Like there's going to be different like lifestyles that we have, like different types of family life going on. Like there's different shit, and there's also different seasons, right? There's going to be seasons of your life where balance is a completely different animal than it is in other times. Like Matt said when he's doing testing his program out, balance looks a hell of a lot different than it does right now, right? Like it's different. Like balance doesn't have to mean the same thing all year round. Like it's gonna change, and it's gonna change often for you generally. Like you're gonna have months where it's like completely different than for February than it was in March, right? It's just it's kind of fluid, and it's just gonna depend on what you want and what's going on in your life and how shit's going. Like it's just that's just the way it is. But that's the cool thing is I would just challenge people to enjoy life more, because I know that that was something that I don't want to say I lost years in my life, but like I was so focused on health and fitness for periods of time that I lost out on like really fun activities and really fun experiences that I might have been able to enjoy a lot more if I would have just like stopped being so strict on my nutrition and so strict on like going to bed at this time. And I don't know, I've enjoyed life the last few months a lot more than I have maybe ever, because I've still had health and fitness like on the priority list. It's just it's not something that I like. It's I'm doing what I need to do to stay in good shape and feel good, right? Like that's what my health and fitness is right now, and I am trying to enjoy life to the fullest in the midst of that. And it's really cool to kind of find that. And so I would just encourage people, as we kind of wrap this podcast up, to find what that means for you, and to understand that even if you are right now being really strict with your nutrition and your health and fitness, that's cool. Like we're all in different areas, right? Like maybe you like, I want to lose 30 pounds right now, like this is a big goal. Awesome. But also understand that like that doesn't mean you have to be 100% like on with your stuff. Like you can still enjoy a night out with the ladies. You can still go grab a beer with the guys. You can still go grab a pizza. Like you can still enjoy these things. It's just probably going to be a little bit less, but I would encourage you to make sure you're mixing them in. It's going to make your plan a lot more sustainable. I think it's going to get you to your goal a lot quicker, and you're going to enjoy the process a lot more.
Totally. And like Alex was saying, if you are that person that you're just buckling down and you're so focused right now, enjoy it during your process too. And then in addition to that, also have an exit strategy to get out of there properly, right? So that where you're gradually increasing some of those other things at higher levels than what you once were during your 12, 16, 21 week, aggressive diet cut, whatever you were doing. Like, because understand that if you are somebody that's been chronically dieting and you are on that side of that phase or that spectrum, it's like you are doing more damage staying there permanently, not allowing yourself freedom, not allowing yourself higher caloric intakes, not allowing yourself some of these freedoms to live life. Like I know it sounds cool and it looks good on paper and you want to stay really focused and you're hyper disciplined. I used to be this person. I was like, there's no room for flexibility. There's no room for going out. There's no room from deviating from my meal plan. Like it's just crunch time. It's like you can do that, but at some point, and there will be seasons for that, but at some point, you don't want to look back and go like, man, I was so focused on this stuff, I missed out on life. Like I forgot we're actually here doing this thing called life, right? Now, those things enhance your life, but to such a ridiculous, like sickening degree to where you're almost neglecting life, then it becomes a problem, right? So that's all Alex is saying is just, make sure that you're not in that boat and you're doing it for a very purposeful reason. There are seasons to do it, but also I would encourage people to have an exit strategy to get out of there so that you can re-enjoy some of the things that you
Yeah,
know,
dude.
like and
And
love for
also,
sure.
like, within all of this is alternative versions to things too. Like there's like you don't even have to. I've gone plenty of times where it's like I'm not even necessarily eating the real thing of these. Like I think we've talked about like Halo Top. I love Halo Top ice cream. Some people will like say it sucks, but like I love that I love it because it's like 300 calories for a pint. Like you can just pound that shit. You could eat two of them, and you're still half the way there to a Ben and Jerry's. Like like it's literally it's awesome. But I think a lot of the times, like when you are used to just eating the full sugar versions and the like, which is cool, you can mix those in too. But like I just got so used to eating some of these like alternative options and like making some alternative like sweets and doing all that they became really good in my eyes. And so like that's also a thing too. You can look online. There is some sort of like good tasting alternative version to probably anything you've ever thought. Yeah, like so you can look that shit up, find those recipes, try them out. Like I've done like plenty of like protein versions of these things, like protein banana bread. Like yeah, exactly. Like they're really good, and they're a lot of times they're lower calorie, and like they're gonna hit whatever you're trying to hit. Like if you're trying to hit a sweet tooth, try these things out too. And so you got anything else to add here, Matt?
No, man, that's it. And like what you're saying with the substitutions, my dad literally just did that as well. He's being more hyper conscious around his intake. I had him tracking his calories. He had never done that before, and it was eye opening for him. And then immediately after he did it, he found alternatives to his coffee creamer. He found different versions of chips that he had for lunch. He went with a lighter calorie options. So there's always going to be an alternative. And just by doing those changes, he had, depending on the day, he had anywhere from 500 to 800 calories less on his total after making those adjustments. It wasn't necessarily that he was eating less food. He just changed some of the things out. And, on some days he almost got back like 1,000 calories, so it's just little small things like that, including those ways to balance in your nutrition. And there's always decisions, there's always choices to be made, and if you just make some of those, they can go a really long way. I know they're uncomfortable at first, and you may love the Ben and Jerry's more. We're not saying completely eliminate that, but try a Halo Top, try some of these other ones, right? And man, because soon as that lid comes off on that pint, dude,
Yeah.
it's gone,
Whether
it's
it's Ben and Jerry's, whether
done.
it's
Let's be
fucking
real.
Halo, doesn't matter, dude. I'm eating that whole thing. You
Dude,
better believe it.
dude,
Oh,
I throw the lid out. I take the lid off and I throw it
hey,
out.
I've
Like, we
tried
don't
to
need
keep
this
it and
anymore.
it doesn't matter. Like I've like set it down like I'm maybe gonna put it back
Yeah,
in the freezer. And it's never no.
no
That shit
chance,
ain't
dude.
fucking no.
No chance,
It's
dude.
gone.
Yeah,
But no, I
yeah,
love that, man.
no
And yeah,
chance.
it's like
Yeah,
there's a lot of different ways to do this. Also, we didn't even talk about the fact that like just getting rid of some of like the caloric drinks, right? Like that's a great way to like help too with
yeah,
some of
yeah,
this. Like some people will drink a lot of pop
yeah,
and whatever. But either way, like
yeah,
this, I think this has been great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast, have some sort of insight on just how you can personally find balance. Cause we're not, like I said at the start, we're not trying to preach anything here. We're just more or less trying to give you ideas of how you could navigate the waters and be able to still enjoy all of these things you want. Maybe going out drinking on the weekend here and there. Maybe, going out to eat, going wherever the hell you want to go, like, and enjoying desserts, enjoying pizza, enjoying burgers, whatever it is. How can you do these things and still stay on track with your health and fitness, stay in good shape? For me and Matt, you know, keep a nice figure, right? Like we're trying to keep a good figure up in here and still enjoy our lives. So like thank you guys for watching, listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it, all we ask is you share it with a friend, family member, coworker, somebody who you think will benefit from it. Help us grow the podcast. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. We hope you have a good rest of the day, a good rest of the week, and we'll be talking to you soon.